A very good morning to all the respected officers of NHAI and other esteemed participants. Thank you for waiting for this small technical glitch. I hope I'm audible now. Before I start, let me express my sincere gratitude and thanks to Chairman Sir NHAI and Shri Venkatramana Sir, Member PPP, for inviting Early Associate South Asia Private Limited or LASA for making this presentation on managing projects in the role of independent engineer or authorities engineer. While presenting the slides, LASA's name may appear here and there because I am referring to the practices being followed at LASA. Therefore, it is kindly requested not to construe it as a sense of superiority or pomposity. I'm just trying to refer the practices being used in LASA, and I'm sure other consultants may also be following many best practices in the industry while delivering the projects. Next slide, please. So today's presentation, I'm going to touch upon these aspects. In general, the contractual position of INAE and the roles and responsibilities that INAE is expected to deliver. And in the project management system that we do, I would like to highlight the project management setup that we have and the selection of project team, then power delegations to the team leader, the head office support that we extend to the site teams, exchange of information between site office and the head office, then the interaction between authority, interaction of IA with the authority and concessionaire, the trainings which we conduct, internal and external trainings onto our professionals who are engaged on the projects, and the internal quality and safety audits that we carry on are the aspects I'm going to cover today. Next slide, please. Next. The beauty of the HAM or EPC contract forms, or these three contract forms under implementation in India are based on the model concession agreement. And in all these forms of contracts, primarily there are three players who play important role in the project delivery. Like for example, in BOT and HAM projects, there are three players. The three players are the authority, the concessionaire, and the IE. And similarly for EPC contracts, these three players are the authority, EPC contractor, and the authority's engineer. And as per the schedule N of concession agreement or the EPC contract, the independent engineer or the authority's engineer holds a contractual position in regards to its roles and responsibilities. And who is this independent engineer or the authority's engineer? A consulting engineering firm through its authorized person, generally at the rank of director, performs the role of independent engineer or the authorities engineer. And the team leader who is deployed at the site is IE or AE's representative on site with most of the powers delegated to him. And then the team leader is assisted by the site team in delivering the duties of I and AE, including a set of key professionals and sub-key professionals. Next slide, please. In regard to the key responsibilities of independent engineer and authority engineer, there is an exhaustive list. I've picked a few very important ones. The first one is the review of the design and drawing. As we all know, the responsibility of design in HAM or EPC projects rests with the concessionaire or the EPC contractor. The scope is defined in Schedule B, C, and D, with B and C, and the governing criteria are given in Schedule D. So the designs being prepared by the concessionaire or the EPC contractors are to be reviewed by the independent engineer and the authorities engineer as per the specifications and the standards and the guidelines. The next important responsibility of the independent engineer or the authority engineer is to review the master work program, the method statement, then safety and environmental mitigation plans, quality assurance plans, which are to be prepared by the concessionaire or the EPC contractor, and they have to be reviewed to confirm whether they are in line with the laid down standards specifications. The another important responsibility of the engineer is to approve the material sources. Either they are natural materials like earth for the earthwork and subgrade, and then aggregates, which are again a naturally occurring material. They have to be approved, and in case of these material approvals, it is 100% to be approved by the INAE. And also the manufactured material like cement, steel, bitumen, and other manufactured materials like bearings, etc., they are to be approved by the INAE. In addition to that, the job mixes for the various pavement layers and concrete are also to be reviewed and approved by the authorities in India and independent India. Then quality checks, which are done through the request for RFIs, are to be done to the minimum percentages specified in the contract, 20% in HAM and 50% in EPC, with the changes contract to contract. That is responsibility of the INAE. Then managing the non-conforming work. If some work is non-conforming to the specifications, managing those works, how to get it rectified, that is also the part of the responsibility of the INAE. And then a review of the safety during construction and operation is one of the very important aspects that INAE has to keep always watch on. Next slide, please. Then progress review, because the progress of the project has to be seen. We have got various milestones to see whether the project progresses are as per the planned targets. So for that, the review is to be done. Then review of the progress report submitted by the contractor and concessionaire. This is also an important activity because we need to confirm the correctness of the report submitted by the concessionaire and the contractors. Then inspection, monthly inspections of the works and submit the monthly inspection reports. Then verifying the stage payment certificates or the milestone payment certificates is part of the responsibilities of the INAE. Then if there are any change of scope proposals that are to be reviewed and a determination of any extra time or cost involved with this is to be assessed. Then before issuing the completion certificate or provisional completion certificate, a set of tests as per the schedules in the concession agreement or in the EPC agreement, those tests are to be carried out, and verify monthly maintenance statements in case the projects are into operation and maintenance stage. Next slide, please. Next. See, at LASA, our approach has been to deliver the project successfully to meet the requirements of the terms of reference and the expectation of the authority. We have an approach with 4 important elements like this. We emphasize enough to having a competent site team because they are very important ingredients in delivering the project successfully. So the first part is to have a competent site team. The second thing is that we have a standard operating procedures and guidelines in-house built document for each task and activities involved at the site, so that individuals may not have the varied type of procedures being followed at different projects. So we have got number of projects, so we try to have a uniform approach, and hence at organization level we have built an in-house standard operating procedures. We have got a supervision manual which contains standard operating procedures and guidelines for each task and activities involved in the supervision project. The third thing is adequate support from the consultant's head office, because we all know there are certain responsibilities of the INAE which require some specialized attention, focus, and which is given by the head office of the consulting organization. That is the third important aspect. And the last one is the constant monitoring by the senior management of the organization to see the things are on track. So our approach has been this: using these four elements, we try to deliver projects to the satisfaction of the authority. Next slide, please. The project management setup that we have is this kind. We have got a set of, or rather, we have got a project team which is placed at site, which comprises of team leader and then key professionals and sub-key professionals and support staff. So they are present at site and they are mostly responsible in executing and delivering the project. However, from head office, as I said before, managing director or a director is designated as independent engineer and authorities engineer. And then we have got a project coordinator. This position of late has also been officially introduced in most of the consultancy agreements recently, and it has got a contractual position also. Even before that, we used to have this position. So there is a project coordinator which acts as a link between the site team and the head office. And then we have got a set of experts who are placed in our head office or regional offices who are helping the site office or assisting the site office in delivering the project. And the experts which are there at head office or regional office are basically highway design engineers or experts, structural design experts, pavement experts, geotechnical experts, contract specialists, safety experts, and senior quantity surveyors. So whatever assistance is needed by the site team is being coordinated by the project coordinator with the help of these experts. And this project coordinator and the independent engineer also have got a regular interaction with the authority and the concessionaire. Next slide, please. As I said before, the selection of the project team is very important. So proposing key personnel during the proposal submission stage, being a large organization, we have an advantage that we have a large pool of in-house professional available with us, so we can make use them and we hardly depend on the external candidates. Since we are using the in-house professionals, we know their capability and strength, so for us it becomes very easy in manning them as per the requirement of the project. However, in case we need external candidates, we have got an exhaustive procurement or the hiring procedure at two stages, including one by a very senior management person before we induct or propose him into the proposal or during the construction of the project. Same is true with the sub-professionals, since we have got a large pool of in-house sub-professionals and most of them are serving with us for a long time. We know them, and we know them also through a robust performance monitoring system that we have in-house. So we have got the profile of this large pool of people, and then we know the adequacy of each person, and then we decide whom to be placed where. Again, in case of the external candidates needed for the sub-professional, we have got an exhaustive interview system and through which we appoint them. Next slide, please. The site team is fully empowered. Team leader of the IE is, as I said before, is a representative on site with all powers of IAE, excepting few which are listed here, because some of them are very important issues, and we feel that these issues are to be known and dealt by the independent engineer or the authorities engineer by himself or herself. So we delegate all powers to the team leader, excepting these. And these exceptions are assessment and determination of the additional cost, that is including SUS, a recommendation on subcontracting, recommendation on extension of times in case of EPC contracts, recommending damages, and then issuing notice of suspension, recommending termination, issuing completion or provisional completion or defect liability certificate, and certification of final payment certification. So these are the things which the team leader needs to consult the independent engineer or the authorities engineer, and he only, independent engineer or authority engineer only, can issue recommendations on these aspects. Some of these aspects, of course, authority also has asked or has put in the contract to take prior approval from the authority before um, issuing any recommendation on these. Next slide, please. It is same thing which I said before. Team leader along with the key professionals on site are fully responsible to carry out all the tasks and responsibilities. However, they are adequately supported by the head office experts wherever needed. Next slide. In-house developed supervision manual. As I briefly touched upon this, we have got an in-house developed supervision manual which is updated regularly and is very handy to our field team. This manual provides standard operating procedures for the activities involved in a supervision project, right from its inception to the completion of the project. It's not only related to the construction activities, it is also related to the review, approvals, reporting, etc. So it includes all the activities and tasks that are required to be executed by a project site team on the site. So we have developed SOPs so that it comes very handy for our field team, and there is a uniformity on all the projects. For all important tasks and activities, there is also checklist provided so that uh, no important aspect is missed out by site teams. Next slide, please. When I said that we have got adequate support to the field staff from our head office, I would like to put in place here that we have an advantage that besides our head office in Delhi, we have got 5 regional offices spread across the country, and then this helps us, and the geographical spread of these ROs helps us in providing technical and contractual support to the site teams very effectively. As I said, we have got regional offices in Mumbai, Gandhinagar, Kolkata, Hyderabad, and Guwahati. So the projects near to these regional offices are attached to those offices, and then whatever support they need, they are not totally dependent on the head office. And these people who are providing the support from the regional offices and head offices are very experienced and qualified technical and contract experts, and most of them are serving with us for a long time. So we have got that also advantage. Thank you. Next slide. When we talk about the support from head office, what are the aspects that site team is supported by the head office are these ones. Review of the highway and structural designs, review of the pavement designs, review of the geotechnical designs, which includes the structures of foundations, high embankment designs, ground improvement, etc. Then review of the innovative designs, particularly these days we are seeing that there are quite innovation in the pavement design and the structure design. So we have got adequate expertise at our head office and regional offices to review those designs. Then source approval of the manufactured and procured material. There have been many circulars issued by the ministries and NHAI on this subject. So a proper checking and a review of the request of approvals from the contractors needs to be done in light of the provisions of these circulars. So our head office also support site teams in getting them through. Then review of the designs of temporary structure is also an important element, so that we make sure no mishap happens during the casting of major structures, etc. A review of rectification methodologies in complex NCRs. As you know, if suppose there are some works which are non-conforming to these specifications and standards, we issue the NCRs to the contractors and concessionaires and seek methodologies from them. And once the methodologies are received from them, they are sometimes complex and they need our head office support in reviewing those methodologies before they are approved and rectification is done on site. The additional advantage we have is that we have got full independent setup and teams to conduct NSV, FWD, MBIU, and ATCC and reflective measurements, in-house setups, and we have in-house reporting system so that we have got full control and reliability on the output of these surveys. Next. In regard to the contractual aspect for which the supports are provided from our head offices are these ones. Review of the complex COs proposals, review of the extension proposals for the EPC contracts, recommending damages, recommending completion certificates or the provisional completion certificates, issuing notice of suspension, and recommending terminations, matters of disputes, and a review of claims. Because these are going to have a significant effect on the project time and cost. So the senior contractual experts from our regional office and head office provide all the required support to the site teams. Next slide, please. The exchange of information between our site office and head office, besides regular interaction of the project coordinator with team leader, we follow this system to keep a track of things happening at site. So the project coordinator or the independent engineer talks with the authority on regular basis and pays site visits. All the correspondences of the project are marked to the project coordinator and IE and AE so that he has information about the development and things happening at the site. And one of the very unique things which we follow is that we have got a project site submits a brief 2-page report every month to LASA senior management, which covers important and key indicators to see the health of the project and which helps in proper intervention by the senior management to the project site. And then we also, of course, have got online review meetings of site team with our senior management. Next slide, please. When I said that we have got a 2-page brief reporting system between our site office and head office, these reports basically focus on these aspects of the project. One is the project progress and other details like milestone achievement, change of scope, extension of time, land acquisition statuses, etc. Then status of review of the designs and drawings to see whether anything is pending with IE or AE. And then we also seek information from our site regarding communications through emails or letters from concessionaire or EPC contractors and authority expressing concerns over the performance of independent engineer of the authority. In case somebody has written or informed about the concern on the performance of our services. So we seek that information on a regular basis. Then information on notice if there are any claims, notices, etc. By the concessionaire contractor or the even by authority. So those information we seek so that we have a compiled status of the project. Then status of NCRs, because NCRs and number of NCRs indicate the health of the project in terms of its quality. So that and plus safety concerns and information on if there are any vacant positions in the team of IE and AE, we seek it from the site team to act on immediately. And if there are any pending issues with IE, which is hampering the project. So the list is still exhaustive, but we try to have some important aspects so that immediate intervention can be made onto it. Next slide, please. Interaction with authority and contractor. The regular interaction with the stakeholder is key to the successful project delivery. Of course, the team leader is in touch with the authority and the concessionaire of the contract on daily basis. However, the independent engineer and AE also of the project meets the authority, particularly PD, on a regular basis to understand authority's concerns on our performances, if there are any things they want to improve our performances, or if there are any pending issues. Similar thing is with the meeting with the concessionaire or the EPC contractor, where we try to understand if there are any unresolved issues pending with the independent engineer or any disagreements or difference of opinions, so that are attended at those interactions and meetings. Next slide, please. So during these interactions, one more aspect gets covered is that if there are any disagreement or difference of opinions, they can be settled amicably, because disputes or disagreements on projects is the last thing which any of the parties would like to have, so that the projects are completed. So a consultative approach between the stakeholder is taken by LASA to resolve and to conciliate the disputes. Next slide, please. This is one of the very important aspects, reporting and documentation. We make sure that project site teams are, adhere to the timelines of various reporting requirements, uh, commenting on the progress reports, submissions of the inspection reports, timelines for the reviews, and there are many other aspects where we need to act timely. And we are very particular about this. These things are also covered in our SOPs. However, they are being reported by the site team to the senior management through that two-page reporting system. And if there are any delays, immediate actions are being taken by the senior management. All the documents and reports at site, including communications, are digitized regularly and kept in a quickly traceable manner. Cataloging and hyperlinking helps in achieving this target. So, be it the communication from the contractor or the authority, we digitize them and then summarize them so as to see whether any of the issues needing attention has been missed. Similarly, on the quality control documents and other related documents, we compile this periodically, section-wise, and keep it ready while processing the IPCs, and are ready for handing over to the authority at the end of the project. Next slide, please. This is just a snapshot to just state how we are maintaining the communications. So this is incoming correspondences. So it gives you the date of receive the letter number, date. This letter is addressed to whom and what is the subject. And in the last column, you can see if that letter has been replied or not. However, there can be few letters which do not warrant any reply, but they are of information nature, information in nature, informative in nature. So this summary helps us even for the senior management who is sitting away to understand if there are any important issues remaining unattended at the site. Similar registers and cataloging is done for all the communications from the concessionaire or contractors, incoming as well as outgoing. Next slide, please. In regard to the quality control records, this is the summarized sheet, which is a very common. For each kilometer of the road, we maintain such records wherein we know which part of the section and which layer of the section is approved on which date through which RFI, and they can be traceable within a couple of minutes anytime during the course of the project, and that helps also at the time of handing over. As you all know, the responsibility of the independent engineer and the authorities engineer is to the extent of 20% and 50% of quality checks respectively. So these two colors indicate, the RFI is checked by the INAE, and the other color indicates blue in this case is the ones approved by the witnessed and approved by the INAE, and the orange ones are the one which are part of the quality control exercise done by the contractor, because those documentations also we need to maintain and to see whether they have qualified the required standards and specifications. Next slide, please. Similarly, for the minor structures, we can have a spreadsheet like this wherein we know each component of the structure casted on which date and through which RFI. We maintain it for all the major structures, change-wise, location-wise. So this helps us both in keeping our quality control records for one structure in a detailed manner and while processing the IPCs and the stage payments to see whether the works are done and if done, whether they qualify the quality control tests. Next slide, please. For the larger structures, this is one of the pictorial presentations. This kind of record maintaining helps us in knowing the status of the works. As you see, lift-wise and component-wise, it gives the details of the works carried out, including the quantity and the RFI number and the date. For all the structures, particularly major structures, such records are maintained in a digitized form and they come very handy when we want to trace any quality control paper or quality checks carried out, even for handing over or taking over of the project, as well as for certification of the payment. Next slide, please. This training for the project side staff, we take pride in saying that we have got a very robust mechanism of training our people at site and head office. We have got one dedicated independent training department at our organization, which are who is mandated to carry out the training programs for our field staff as well as our head office staff. So every year we develop a training calendar, taking the inputs from the sector heads and the senior management on the training needs. And then based on those training needs, we develop a calendar right from the junior post level up to the middle senior level professionals. And these, next slide please, and these training programs are of two categories in nature. Next slide please. See, for construction supervision projects, we have got external training programs as well as internal training programs. And these are managed by that dedicated training department that we have at our organization. Generally, the renowned institutions carry out the training programs with a defined module. Either they are IHE, CRRI, IITs or IIMs, they carry out the training programs, which are designed for the subjects. Generally, these institutions cover are safety, pavement and highway design, quality control and quality assurance, and project management. So, whenever such programs are announced, we nominate our people from site as well as from our. It is done in an exhaustive manner. So they attend the program, they acquire the knowledge, and they help us in delivering the projects. Besides that, we have got internal training programs which are very important, which we customize as per our requirement, our people. So these internal, as far as external programs are concerned, I must mention one thing, that many of our experts from head office are also the faculty or the trainers for these institutions, IHI or CRR, they are called, and they impart training to the participants there. So coming back to the internal training program, as I said, based on our needs, we customize the training modules, and these trainings are then imparted to our field staff as well as our regional office and head office staff. And the subjects covered are the contract management, project management, quality control, quality assurance, highway and structural designs, geotechnical designs, pavement designs, etc. And as I said before, they are also done in a very systematic and scientific manner. And last year, we conducted more than 30 training sessions for our field staff only. And the participation was more than 150 per session. And we could see the difference on site after the trainings are imparted, because they get chance to interact with the experts of the subject, they chance to get their doubts cleared by the seniors from the discipline. So a very remarkable change has been observed after we started these trainings. Next slide, please. In LASA, we have got also 3 audit systems which we carry out on projects. These are our internal audits. They are basically done on three aspects. One is on the quality of construction, then is on the contractual dealing of the project, and then there is a safety aspect. So there are three different independent teams comprising 2 to 3 members. They visit the projects and carry out thorough audits. And the reports are submitted to the senior management and the project coordinators for compliances, if any. And these teams also interact with the client during their audits and concessionaire when they visit the site. Then additional audits which are required. These are the periodic audits, but if the IE or AE or the project coordinator of that project feels that additional audits are required, so they request for the additional audits and they are also carried out. Next slide, please. LASA, as I said, is a big organization, and hence there are multiple executive directors who are looking after this sector of domestic highway supervision projects. And we have divided ourselves into the regions. But to keep the uniformity in approach, because we are dealing with the same contract and most of the time the same client, we cannot have a different approach. So there is a platform of a regular interaction between the senior managers of LASA who are dealing with the supervision projects in different regions of the country, and they meet and then they adopt uniform approach across the projects, and they share experiences and lessons learned from project to the other projects, and they discuss any critical issues. So this helps us in having sharing the knowledge and experience from the other projects, and also in adopting the uniform approach across the project. I think with this, I come to the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.